Welcome into another video here. We're talking about a full Week 1 NFL recap. We'll talk about some bets we made. We'll talk about the full card, all the games. Let's just wrap up this Week 1 slate. Ravens-Chiefs was the opening game Thursday night, and a great game. Came down to the last play. I already broke down this video a little bit more in another video earlier today. So if you want to check that out, go on the channel. It's on there. You can find that video pretty easily. Chiefs walk away with a 27-20 victory on the last play of the game. I think they look like the best team right now. They certainly showed it with a big win over a big team in the Baltimore Ravens. Green Bay Packers go on the road against the Eagles. Well, actually, it was in Brazil and lose that game. Saquon Barkley, 3 touchdowns. A lot of Eagles fans are hyped that they have Saquon. Yes, I get it, but I think the Eagles probably would have won this game even if they still had DeAndre Swift from last year. Both teams look good in my opinion, although the Packers now, Jordan Love goes down, which sweetens our Lions to win the NFC North bets, sweetens our Lions over bets. I feel bad for people that bet the Packers over because that 9.5 seemed like free money. A lot of people were calling it free money, especially on gambling Twitter. And he goes down now. That's going to be pretty tough to get there, in my opinion. But ultimately, the Eagles win. I think as long as they fix that offensive woes with Kellen Moore, I think this team can be really solid moving forward. Vikings house the Giants on the road here. The Giants are probably the biggest loser outside of the Panthers this week. A lot of people are hating on Daniel Jones. A lot of people saying he should be done, exiled from NFL. I don't know. Like, you take a look at Daniel Jones' box score, and yes, he had very low completion percentage at 52.4%. But this man had 186 yards. That was 16th this week. That's more yards than a lot of guys like Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow. As those offenses struggled, Kirk Cousins. That's way more than a lot of those guys. Like, I get it. It's easy to attack Daniel Jones, but I think there's a lot of problems on this New York Giants team that should be addressed way before Daniel Jones gets addressed. You can argue he's overpaid. I understand all of that. But to me, the linemen still look bad. The defense wasn't as good as I think everyone hoped and thought it was going to be in this game. Sam Darnold looked really well, and if Sam Darnold can somehow have a Baker Mayfield last year type season, this could be a successful season for the Vikings in a very tough division, and now especially with Jordan Love going down for the Packers, the Vikings can silently make some noise maybe in the NFC. Ultimately, a boring game because the Vikings blew them out. One bad little pick there by Daniel Jones pretty much iced this one out. Steelers against the Falcons. Steelers go on the road against the Falcons and win as 3.5-point dogs. They win 18-10. This team did not score a touchdown, but they ultimately come away with a victory. And I literally said in my week preview with my betting card that I'm betting this because Mike Tomlin just always is in close games like this, and he finds a way to win close games with defense, and that's exactly what happened in this game. T.J. Watt was a monster. I immediately bet him to win Defensive Player of the Year after this game. He had 2 sack fumbles that didn't even count because of penalties on the field. This man would have had if those counted, this man would have had a crazy game, like arguably one of the best games ever because he had another fumble recovery. He had a lot of tackles for loss. Ultimately, with 18-10, you can say, I think the Falcons are going to be fine. Like, you could say Kirk Cousins looked washed, but I think he first, arguably, the best defensive performance of the week by the Steelers. I know the Bears did well, but I think that was more offensive woes of what the Bears showed up than them actually being a good defense. Great win for the Steelers. And I think they're still going to be right there, 9-8, 10-7. That division's going to be loaded again. I think the Falcons, since the division's so bad, they have a lot of time here to address the needs, address the offense, and fix what's going on. Cardinals at the Bills. Bills win 34-28 in what a game that started with Kyler going all the way down on this defense and just killing them, right? Going down the field, scoring pretty easily, scoring quickly. They got off to a pretty hot lead. Bills come all the way back and win this game. I think that shows the great and heart and MVP caliber player in Josh Allen. The defense got a fumble against Kyler Murray. That was big. Ultimately, the Bills win this game, but don't cover the spread. It's a good win for them overall, counting the fact of what happened in the beginning. Titans at the Bears. Bears won 24-17. I mean, Caleb Williams struggling, I think, is an understatement. Only 92 passing yards. They ultimately win the game from a pick six from Will Levis. Is one of the worst throws I think I've seen in a long time. They got a blocked punt touchdown. It was just bad plays by the Titans all over the place. Even the Titans head coach said if they punted on 1st and 10 every play, he thinks they would have won this game, which is kind of crazy to say, but ultimately kind of what happened, right? That's a good sum of the game. Bears get a much-needed win at home, a win that a lot of people think were doubting. Titans lose. Yes, it didn't look great, but I still think the Titans are a sneaky team. Maybe even a team that can upset some teams moving forward, like the Jets next week, because the Jets didn't look all that good. Don't sleep on any of these teams moving forward, but the Bears get a good win. Patriots at the Bengals. This eliminated me from suicide, sadly, as the Bengals lost to the Patriots. And I think this just shows how important it is to get your team together prior to the season starting. Like the whole Jamar Chase holdout, I think had a big toll on this team. This is a team that historically, Zach Taylor is a coach historically that comes out slow. You can say Joe Burrow is a player that historically comes out slow. And that's what happened. And Jacoby Brissett is good enough. When he's given an opportunity, he's going to win the game. Right? You want to ask the Browns right now who they would have at quarterback, Deshaun Watson or Jacoby Brissett right now? I think they would argue Jacoby Brissett. After seeing a week 1 sample size. Now, I think the Patriots are now getting overvalued in the market. I don't know how they're only 3-point dogs against Seattle next week. I think this was more a bad play by the Bengals. I think the Bengals should have won this game. They had a fumble in the red zone. I think they had 2 fumbles overall. They just lost a turnover battle. And the offense couldn't click outside of that. So that ultimately led to the loss of the game. And that's how usually these games go. It's just who gets the lucky turnover at the right time. And it was the Patriots today. The Patriots walked away to win. I still don't think this team's any good, and I think the Bengals will figure it out at some point. Maybe when they get like guys like Jamar Chase on the practice field for more often than they did. Texans at the Colts. I said this was my favorite play of the week. My best bet of the week was Colts +3. They got there, thank God. Like this looked like we were good, then it looked like we were definitely not good, then it looked like we were good for 1 second, then not good, and then all of a sudden we got home with a cash. Anthony Richardson got in the end zone somehow, thank Godly, on that 4th and goal, broke a tackle, powered through another one to get in the end zone. Texans got a much-needed win. I think Stephon Diggs showed out. Joe Mixon showed out. This offense is going to be good. Can they just keep it going? Like, you played a close game against the Colts. I think now these 2 teams right here, Texans Colts, are 2 teams I have my eyes on very intently for the next week game. Like, Colts go on the road to play Packers team now with a backup quarterback. I think they have to win that game. The Texans are home for a Bears team, which now people might like this Bears defense. I'm going to sit very intently on that game. That game's on Sunday Night Football. Jaguars up the Dolphins in a lower scoring game than I think a lot of people thought. I think the people thought the Jaguars offense would explode in this game, which Tyreek Hill did have a one big play, big touchdown, which I think that's why Tyreek Hill is the best receiver in the league, just because he's the only receiver, in my opinion, that has the most likely ability to do a one-play touchdown type of move. Dolphins won 2017. They arguably should have won a regular time because, or they did win a regular time, but they should have won even earlier because Sanders missed the kick. Did get a second chance and put it through to win the game. I like both these teams moving forward. I think the Dolphins arguably could be the favorite to win the AFC East right now, and the Jaguars, I think, are now going to be a little undervalued in the market with this loss. Panthers get absolutely housed by the Saints. I don't know what happened here. I guess, can Bryce Young just not play? That's not what I saw at Alabama, but that's now what it's looking likely. I think the Saints' offense was better than a lot of people thought it was going to be coming into the season. So maybe the Saints are just better than what people thought, because a lot of people were very down on the Saints team. I saw their under win total, very highly bet play. I saw the Panthers over win total was also a very highly bet play. But they get housed, and maybe the Panthers can figure it out. Maybe the Saints are just a really good team. We'll have to wait and see. Raiders at the Chargers. Chargers win 22-10. This score is a lot not closer as much as the game was. I think the Raiders were in this game for most of the game, and the Chargers just pulled away at the end from bad decisions from head coach Antonio Pierce from the Raiders. Raiders now like creeping up to 10-point dogs against the Ravens next week. I think that's ridiculous. I would gladly take the Raiders with 10 points. That was a 7-point line last week. You could have got it at 7. Now it's creeping up to 10. I think it's an overreaction. Yes, the Raiders lose. I like them next week. Chargers look decent enough to win this game. I don't know if they looked fantastic. Broncos at the Seahawks. Seahawks won 26-20. I really think this is a game going under the radar, because when I look at the lines next week, Broncos 3-point dogs against the Steelers. I thought the Broncos played well enough in this game to show that they can be somewhat competitive in games. And I thought the Seahawks played decent enough to show that they're more than 3-point favorites against the Patriots, in my opinion. So I think these two teams kind of getting the short end of the stick here. But ultimately, I thought it was a fun game. Seahawks won a game. They covered. They pushed on the spread 6. If you got it late, it was 6.5. They didn't cover. If you got it early, it was 5.5. They did cover. Vegas nailed the line in this game. It was a good win ultimately for the Seahawks. Cowboys housed the Browns, and Deshaun Watson just can't play. Like that's all it is to it. Deshaun Watson just can't play. I've heard that report coming into the season from some guys that I respect. I didn't believe it necessarily, but I think that was true. And now is it? Yeah, the Cowboys are still really good. Maybe that downward spiral they had was kind of a hoax. This team's still really good. Or was it now more Deshaun Watson is not good, and maybe this team is quitting on him a little bit? I think it's going to be the latter as we get into the season. Commanders at the Bucks. Commanders, I thought looked okay considering the fact. Like I think the Bucks were a tough team to play Week 1 on the road because I think a lot of people can easily point at the Bucks saying they're not that good of a team. But this is a team that won a playoff game last year. I think a lot of people forget about that. And now they have a second-year quarterback assessing your system. Todd Bowles, I think, is proving he's a proven head coach in this league. I think it was a tough spot, and that's why I picked the Bucks in my pick'em league. I think the Bucks played really well, and I think the Bucks are a sneaky team that can win the AFC South. I actually picked them to win the AFC South, I mean the NFC South. I'm sorry. Good win for the Bucks. I think Commanders will figure it out eventually. They should beat the Giants next week, I think. Rams at the Lions. This is a line game that had a weird line movement. Rams opened 3.5 and moved all the way up to 5.5 by kickoff. Someone knew something here as the Lions won by 6 points to get that all those numbers home. Sucks for Vegas there, but I thought both teams looked good again. At times, I thought maybe the Lions' pass game didn't look as good. Maybe Jared Goff didn't look as good. I thought same thing for the Rams. Maybe Matthew Stafford didn't look as good. Threw a bad pick in the red zone. Ultimately, the Lions' run game was unstoppable. Montgomery Gibbs was just hell on earth for the Rams. I think the Lions are going to be really good. I still think they're the best team in the NFC. We'll see what happens moving forward. Monday night, 49ers killed the Jets. And again, it was Mason that came in at running back to fill in for CMC and absolutely destroyed this Jets defense, which is crazy because this is supposed to be a good Jets defense. But I think this once again shows that the running back doesn't matter that much, especially when you're looking at a power rating standpoint. Like to me, whether CMC was in the backfield or Mason was in the backfield, the line spread should not have moved, and it did. It moved 1 point fully down. To me, that is not accurate of a power rating standpoint of how much the running back means to the spread. Jets looked not great at offense. I think it's a tough Week 1 game going across country to play arguably the best team in the NFL in the 49ers. It's a tough spot. I think the Jets will bounce back. I think they'll be fine. I think they'll get plenty of wins on the year. And I think a lot of Jet fans are believing in that statement. That's the Week 1 recap. That's a long video. I hope you sit here through the whole thing, enjoy, watch it a little bit on 1.25 speed. I'm Josh Wissey. Thank you.